Let's talk now to Friedrich Moser, who's documentarian, director of How to Build a Truth Engine, an upcoming documentary detailing the psychological impact of disinformation on the public. And that is out on Monday. Friedrich, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Are you struck by, as I am, at the extent to which, and we heard a little bit about it there, Donald Trump has been successful, I think, not just in spreading disinformation or misinformation. He's been successful at creating, for some people, what I could only describe as an alternative reality.
I am quite struck. I have to say, I actually was quite struck from the sound bites that I just heard. I think the this parallel universe is something that is very dangerous. It's actually extremely dangerous, but it's also very human because the way we perceive the world is by creating a model of the world in our mind. And if the sources for this creation of the outside world, for this recreation of the outside world in our mind are being, you know, bent or hacked or diverted, we get a really strange model of the outside world in our mind. And this is what we then believe is the reality.
It is astonishing for you. And I think that, I mean, hopefully people have got a little bit of a sense of it just there. But it is astonishing to talk to people who, and in a way, it's actually quite difficult to interview people in that state or in that situation, because ultimately you are talking about two competing sets of realities. You heard it there when I said to the gentleman, who again, seemed a very, very nice man in all sorts of ways. But he was basically saying, I'm putting it to him, well, Donald Trump has said this. And he says, well, no, he didn't. And you say, well, but he definitely did. And it gets to the point where I think I could show him a video of him saying it, and he still wouldn't believe me. And that is a very difficult sort of plane on which for us all to live.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I really think that the way this has struck America now and American politics is something that we have not witnessed yet in Europe. I mean, despite the many, discussions that were around Brexit and probably also the last elections in Germany and in Austria, where I live. But I think in America, because of this very, how to say, very split information ecosphere or ecosystem, basically where people are getting their informations from, I think they are about to lose a coherent perspective on reality. And that's super dangerous, in my opinion. And
Do you
actually,
think that this?
that's actually something that in my film we are talking about, because what we are talking,
Mm.
let's say the sort of starting point of my film is the question: how can we believe in so many different versions of reality and so many different versions of truth?
And very briefly, Friedrich, do you think that this started with Trump, or at the very least, it probably didn't start with Trump, but how much worse do you think Trump has made this? I.e., how big a role do you think he's had in the creation of these realities?
I don't think that Trump himself had such a big influence on the creation of these realities. I think he's a very good salesman, so he knows how to pitch things. He's very well trained and experienced in how to work on reality shows. But on the other hand, I think it has much more to do with the media and where we are getting our informations from. And I think it was much more, how to say, a victim of the pluralism that the internet provided to us, where then people started to pick where to take their news sources from. And
Mm.
the other thing I think is these echo chambers that are being built by the algorithms that run much of social media, which basically kind of hedge you in a certain environment where the same kind of thoughts are being echoed back and forth all the time. And then, of course, you start to believe those and only those. But then these echo chambers are kind of, I don't know how much targeting there is, but they're very different for every different group in society. And so there's not just one alternate reality. There are many alternate realities now in this media
Friedrich
sphere,
Moser,
in this information ecosystem.
Friedrich Moser there, documentarian, director of How to Build a Truth Engine. That is a documentary which is coming out about disinformation, the impact of disinformation on our politics. That is out on Monday.